So what if you could design your company's success the same way an architect designs a skyscraper? Well, that's really the core idea behind what we call Strategic Human Resource Management, or SHRM. It's all about creating a detailed blueprint for your people, a plan that aligns perfectly with your business goals to build something that's innovative, flexible, and gives you a serious competitive edge. Let's dive into that blueprint and see how it's done.
To really get where we are now, you have to look at where we've been. Think back to the 80s. What we call HR today was just personnel. It was a tactical job all about payroll, paperwork, and administration. But then, things started to shift. In the 90s, companies began recognizing the huge significance of their people, and the term human resources took hold. And today, we've taken another giant leap. HR isn't just a support role anymore. It's a critical strategic partner, woven right into the fabric of the business strategy. So here's our game plan, our blueprint for this explainer. First, we'll pour the foundation, looking at that big shift from personnel to partner. Then, we'll sketch out the high-level design of the strategic framework. After that, we get to the really good stuff, constructing the 6 core implementation pillars. And finally, we'll see how it all snaps together to create a structure built to win. Okay, first things first. We are laying the foundation. This part is all about understanding that fundamental shift in thinking, moving away from seeing HR as just administrators and truly embracing them as strategic partners.
So what is SHRM really? At its heart, it's all about one word: linking. It's the conscious, deliberate connection of your people strategy with the company's biggest goals. This isn't just about managing people. It's about deploying your talent strategically to drive performance and build a culture that can outmaneuver the competition. The goal isn't just to have an efficient HR department. It's to gain a real, sustainable competitive advantage. All right, foundation's set. Now let's head up to the high-level design. This is our framework for strategy, kind of the 30,000-foot view of how all the big pieces are supposed to connect. You have to remember, an effective SHRM framework doesn't just appear out of thin air. It's built on this dynamic interplay between 3 core things. First, you've got your internal HR systems, recruitment, training, compensation, the whole shebang. Then you have the company's overall business strategy. And this is the one people forget. You have contextual factors. We're talking everything from outside competition and new tech to internal things like your company's culture and size. Real strategic HR happens right in the middle, where all 3 of these overlap.
And this quote right here, it absolutely nails the mindset shift. We have to stop thinking about employees as costs on a spreadsheet and start seeing them as strategic human capital. Just think about it for a second. Your computers, your office furniture, even the building itself, it all depreciates. It loses value over time. But your people, when you invest in them, when you develop and reward them, they become this unique asset class that actually appreciates and becomes more valuable over time. And now we get to the core of our blueprint, these 6 implementation pillars. These aren't just ideas. They are the critical, load-bearing structures you absolutely need to build a strategic HR function that can actually support the weight of the business. So here they are, the 6 pillars we're about to build, piece by piece. We're going to talk about transforming the HR team itself, making things way more efficient, getting HR a seat at the big table, making sure all the practices actually fit together, partnering with managers on the front lines, and finally, proving that all this work actually impacts the bottom line. Our very first pillar is about a total transformation of the HR team. In the old days, HR folks were specialists in one area, like compensation or recruiting. But in a strategic model, their role completely changes. They become change agents. They need to be skilled in strategic planning, team building, and have a much broader, more global perspective to help steer the whole organization. Okay, pillar 2 might sound a little boring, administrative efficiency, but trust me, it is strategically vital. HR has to become administrative experts. Why? Because by re-engineering and streamlining all that necessary but time-consuming stuff like payroll and benefits, they don't just save money, more importantly, they free up their own time and brainpower to focus on the high-value strategic work that actually moves the needle for the business. Which leads us perfectly to pillar 3, integration. This one is simple, but it is absolutely non-negotiable. Your top HR leader needs a permanent seat at the C-suite strategy table. You can't align people strategy with business strategy if HR is brought in at the last minute. They have to be there from the very beginning, helping to shape and influence those critical decisions. Now for pillar 4, which is all about alignment, or what the pros call fit. And there are 3 types you need to get right. First is vertical fit. This means your HR practices, like who you hire, directly support the main business strategy. Second is horizontal fit.
This means your HR practices support each other. Your hiring, your training, and your rewards all have to be sending the same message. And finally, external fit, making sure all of it aligns with what's happening out in your industry and the market. Pillar 5 is all about a new kind of partnership. The old way of thinking was that HR handles all the people problems. In this new model, a lot of those day-to-day duties are actually handed down to the line managers. This empowers the managers to truly lead their own teams, and it completely transforms HR's role from just being a service provider to being a genuine strategic partner and coach.
And our final pillar, number 6, you have to measure the impact. To really be seen as a strategic partner, HR has to speak the language of the business, and that language is results. This means moving beyond tracking simple activities, like how many people we hired, and instead showing a clear contribution to the bottom line. We're talking performance metrics, return on investment, and even benchmarking against your top competitors to prove your value.
Okay, we've built our pillars. For our final section, let's look at how we lock it all together with the keystone connections that make the whole structure strong.
That shift in partnership with line managers is one of the clearest ways to see SHRM in action. Look at this comparison. The old model created a huge bottleneck where every single people problem had to go through HR. The strategic model creates a real partnership. It empowers line managers to lead, which frees up HR to focus on the big picture. This isn't just a small process change, it's a massive shift in culture and responsibility.
So at the end of the day, after all this work, transforming the team, aligning practices, building new partnerships, what's the ultimate payoff? It's this: a clear, logical path to real market power. When you align HR with your business strategy, you can start to intentionally build your strategic human capital. That capital becomes the foundation for sustainable competitive advantage, which companies like Google and Toyota have used to achieve incredible, tangible power in their markets.
And that brings us to the final critical question for you to think about. When you look at your own organization, after seeing this blueprint, would you say your HR function is acting like a strategic architect, actively designing the future, or is it still mostly operating as a traditional administrator? The answer to that question tells you a whole lot about how ready your company is to truly compete and